I want you to go back to verse 12, and I'm going to stop in just a few moments. I don't know what time I'm supposed to stop, but I'll do it in a few moments. Why is Paul boasting here? Why is he defending himself? I'll tell you why. Because there was a group of false teachers who had come into the Corinthian church. That church caused him no end of pain, as you know. But the worst of it was going on now because false teachers had come there, and of course they wanted to replace Paul. They wanted to teach their lies, their damning heresies, and in order to successfully do that, they had to somehow depose Paul. They had to knock him off the chief seat. He was the reigning teacher, shepherd, pastor, etc. So in order for them to teach lies, they had to destroy his credibility. So they came into the church. You can read between the lines in 2 Corinthians, and you know this, that they were assaulting and attacking him. Terrible things. That they were saying, and you can put this together by reading 2 Corinthians, they were saying that when he suffered as much as he did, he was suffering because God was punishing him for his sin. They said that in the first chapter in verse 6, essentially. They said in chapter 1, verse 17, you read between the lines, that he was untrustworthy. They said he was not truthful. They said he was a huckster. They said he lacked official papers from Jerusalem. He was unauthorized. They said he was secretly corrupt, chapter 4, that he had a hidden life of shame below the surface. They said that he was a deceiver. He was deceptive. They said he was proud. They said he was mentally imbalanced even. They said he was manipulative, that he was taking advantage of them for sex and money. That's implied in the 5th chapter. And they said he was dishonorable. They said he was weak. They said his presence was contemptible and his speech was the same. I mean, they were really going after him. And he needed to defend himself, as hard as it was to do it. He hated to do it. But he needed to do it, not for his own sake, not for his own ego's sake, but for the sake of the truth. How does he respond? Does he write back and say, hey folks, I'm sending you 25 letters commending me from 25 different people. They'll tell you what a good guy I am. I was flying across the country one time and I happened to run into a drunk pastor. Prominent media pastor. And we had a very interesting discussion on the airplane. And I think one of the most interesting flights of my life. And when I got home, within a couple of weeks, I received a letter from him and a stack of about 6 or 8 letters from his staff telling me what a wonderful person he was. And I know he put that all in the file in case I ever said anything about that incident, which I never have. He would be able to pull them out and say, well, I don't know what he's talking about. And he was profane even in the conversation. Paul didn't need letters. I suppose he could have said, well, you know, we've appointed an ad hoc committee and they're going to assess me and give a full report in several months about my virtue. He didn't say that either. You know what he said? I love this. Go back to verse 12. For our proud confidence is this. The testimony of our what? What? Conscience. Isn't that good? That is the highest human court, my friend. You can't get any higher than that. That's not the court of God, but that's the highest human court. With all you've said, Paul says, with all you've said, I will tell you that on the inside, I have lived my life in holiness and godly sincerity, not out of fleshly wisdom, but in the grace of God. And by that, we have conducted ourselves in the world, and especially toward you. You can say all you want to say, and I will tell you the battle is won by the grace of God in my conscience. Isn't that great? That's where you have to win the battle, my friend. That's where you win it. That was repeatedly Paul's testimony. Acts 23, when, brethren, I have lived my life with a perfectly good conscience before God. Up to this day, he said to the Sanhedrin. Acts 24:16 to Felix, I do my best to maintain always a blameless conscience before God and before men. 2 Timothy 1:3, I thank God whom I serve with a clear conscience. Can you say that? Sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, wrote Peter, and have a good conscience.